Now it's also interesting because, of course, China has spy satellites the same way that we have spy satellites. So we have to look at
why are they using a balloon to do this?
In some ways, it seems comically low-tech.
Very low-tech way of undertaking intelligence gathering in comparison to, say, spy satellites.
Is it the kind of thing where we have such high-tech surveillance things that the low-tech stuff can get through now?
China is flying spy satellites over the U.S. every 90 minutes as they orbit the Earth, and those satellites have at least equal surveillance capabilities.
Look at this thing. It's got solar panels. That's like solar panels, right?
What is this?
Really makes you question, what is NORAD, the CIA, the NSA, all these people that we believe are able to look and see these things, Space Command, this brand new Space Command, why couldn't they have caught this?
What the is going on?
Folks, do you know how ridiculous that is? Chinese spy balloon. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. Chinese spy balloon.
No, the flat earthers are going to have a response to this.
Balloons have been a part of NASA research for decades.
No one launches more scientific balloons from more places around the world than NASA's Columbia Scientific Balloon Facility, based in Palestine, Texas. While the technology may seem old-fashioned, it remains the quickest and most cost-efficient avenue to near space.
When I was a kid, we had spaceships, and we had this thought that it was going to be spaceships, and then the next thing was going to be colonies, and then we were just going to keep pushing out for the lunar colony first, and then Mars was going to be next, and we were just going to keep going, and this was our destiny. Don't seem to have ever gotten back to that basic idea of
human progress.
It's a quiet little engine that always has, and we've been going along providing very economical platforms for scientists since the late 40s, and I really believe that it's the little engine that always will too.
Nearly 23 miles high to
an invisible ceiling
where the atmosphere ends and space begins.
The balloons carry flight controls, antennas, and solar panels, and they can stay in the air for 100 days at a time.
It provides for lifting very heavy payloads to very high altitudes.
Higher than airplanes fly even, at about 20 kilometers above the Earth.
95% of all telephone and data is transferred over submarine cables.
Not satellite.
Not satellite.
It's what allows us to rely on instant everything. Phone calls, banking, web surfing, email, streaming video, and other communication.
Everything.
It's been 150 years since the first transatlantic cable began ushering in global communications.
When you pick up the phone to reach out and touch someone across the oceans, it's only possible because of ships like the Global Sentinel.
They're coiling it the same way they did in the 1800s. Cable comes right off into the ocean from here.
Robots take over from there, diving to a depth too deep for humans. The machines use water jets to create a trench, allowing the cable to sink into the seabed and become buried.
What about satellites? Satellites are bullshit. Why do you lose cell connection in a valley? Well, cell connections from cell towers, not satellites. They triangulated it. If you could make a fucking phone call from the moon in 1969, why do I lose reception on my property based on mountains? Huh? Doesn't make any sense. And the thing is, they can't explain it without just going, well, the satellite beams it down to the tower, and then the tower will broadcast, and then, no, or it's just towers. Why don't more satellites get hit by space junk? The amount of space junk, the amount of just anything in orbit, screws, anything. Any one of those things going 10,000 miles an hour, that's way faster than any bullet. And if it just grazes a satellite, that satellite will need to be repaired. How do you bring it to Earth? How do you crash it to Earth? And you set up another one? How often does that happen? How many times do we have to replace the satellite since the Cold War? None? This is the problem with psychopathic liars. They'll say a lie to sell one thing, to get something, and then they'll sell a contradictory lie to get something else. And then when you, the non-psychopath, says, well, how can those two things exist simultaneously? Like they said that the Earth is surrounded by space junk. That tens of thousands of miles an hour, there's little screws and doodads flying everywhere. Okay, so then how is there the ISS then? I don't think there's one grain of space junk up there because I don't believe in orbits. Do I think that there's things in the sky moving over us? Yes. Yes, I do. They have drones, balloons, huge network up there. Do I think they're going 15,000 miles an hour so they fall with the gravity of the Earth and they stay there for decades without needing any maintenance or running into space junk or any particles and destroying them, and their fragile tech just keeps working and broadcasting things? No, of course not. That's retarded.
Not everybody can be a robot polisher.